Everyone, good morning. So, after yesterday's session, did you get a chance to go through the material that we have written, each one of you? I had shared some material on the group yesterday, right? Did you get a chance to go through that? Maybe you could answer with a yes, no, one of the two.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So yesterday we stopped our session because I did realize that it had become a little heavy duty for each one of you. So, but our discussion was not complete. I think the last point that we discussed was the three lines of defense analysis, and we still need to look at the cultural web, the Tara risk framework, analysis of the board, of course, and then a final overview on everything. So that's all that is left. Now, before we analyze it from a cultural web perspective, can you tell me what are the elements of the cultural web? Who can tell me the elements of cultural web?
Sir, power
The
structure,
power structure.
organizational structure, rituals and routine.
Okay.
Stories
Stories,
and symbols.
symbols.
Stories, then symbols and structure, control systems and power structures. All of these together, they make up your cultural web. And of course, this is what shapes the narrative and the identity of the organization in general. Okay. So when we apply that to the live well scenario, we do realize that it is critical because the entity is spread across 35 distinct locations and properties, point one. And there has to be an alignment between what the head office thinks, what the individual locations, how the individual 35 locations work, so that the multiple challenges that might come your way, those can be tackled. Okay. Now, the cultural web is a powerful analytical tool that examines six interconnected elements surrounding an organization's central paradigm. Developed, so the idea is the invisible but interconnected forces that shape behavior, decision making, and ultimately they drive the performance of the entity as a whole. At Levwell, this analysis exposes a critical gap between companies' high quality, guest focused mission and the day to day realities experienced by staff and guests. So, like many organizations, while they do have an organizational goal, they do have they have certain values that they work for. The ground realities are often quite different. So the promise is that we are a high quality, guest focused hotel chain delivering authentic local experiences through distinctive properties. What are your core values? Care, service, responsibility, positivity, and teamwork. This is what you believe should be the driving force in your organization. But the reality right now is that there are operational pressures which are in there is inconsistent service delivery and there is high staff turnover, which means that there is some strain which might be invisible, but which is definitely affecting the organization. So, this basically any gap between the ideal and the as is scenario is leads to a situation where you won't be able to achieve the strategic objectives that you have set out for, and therefore analyzing these six elements, these six interconnected elements, is critical. The routines and rituals, which is basically your daily operational pattern, something as simple as uh, how exactly do you welcome the guests and how do you hand over the key card to them, something like that. That could also be a part of the routines and rituals. There is a daily housekeeping, there are housekeeping and reception procedures, there is guest complaint handling protocol, there are team briefings, but that is not applied on a consistent regular basis, but it is done on and off. Then there are food and beverage service standards and safety checks with respect to safety checks and other compliances that have been put in place. The critical weakness here is that high turnover disrupts routine adherence. Time pressures during peak seasons compromise standard operating procedures because when you have a lot of work pressure, it the you might end up working in a highly inconsistent manner, not applying the protocols every time, not applying the procedures every time, because in such situations, the focus is often on getting the job done and less on following the standards, and that might itself hamper customer experience. Significant variation between hotels increases routines, indicates routines are not fully embedded, leading to inconsistent guest experience and heightened reputation risk. Now, when we are talking about weaknesses, or the challenges in the organization as a whole, what we are trying to hint towards the fact is, because there is high employee turnover, these operational patterns, before they can become a habit for anyone, that person has already left the organization. So that is your first challenge. The second challenge is that significant variation between hotels. See, there are 35 hotels, each not standardized in the same manner, but they are in line with the local flavor and the local tradition and all of that. So naturally the routines cannot be embedded, leading to inconsistent guest experience. When routines break down, service quality becomes unpredictable, and inconsistent routines directly translate to inconsistent guest experience, undermining Levwell's brand promise. Okay, then the stories. Now, what do we mean by stories? So basically the positive word of mouth, or the positive sentiment that exists about the entity as a whole. The hotels are right now achieving a satisfaction score of 4.4 to 4.5, and they are trying to reflect the local heritage, and they are saying that our staff goes the extra mile to make the guest comfortable. But there are certain negative undercurrents, like we are always short staffed. There is we are constantly trying to train people because our people are leaving frequently. The head office does not understand our pressures, and because we have a server based system, which is an in-house server and not cloud based, the system is likely to fail when it is needed the most. These stories, of course, they are they are not necessarily written, but because they are verbal transmission of how the organization in general is, they can paint a pretty or a sad picture about the organization. And it is on the basis of these narratives, coming from employees, coming from guests, coming from ex-employees, it will shape the perception of this organization in the eyes of the world. So they definitely play a critical role, and they show a great divide between what the organization thinks that it is versus what the on ground reality is. Can you tell me the third element of the cultural web? Janvi, can you tell me one more element?
Sir, organizational structure.
Organizational structure. Okay. Can you elaborate?
So the communication gap and hierarchy would be a weakness for them, as they would feel that as the staff would feel they are unheard, and already head office they have a perception that head office does not understand the pressure when they are working.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sir, we can write about the number of executive and non-executive directors.
Hmm.
There are five executive directors and five non-executive directors, which is in compliance with the UK Corporate Governance Code. So, and then we can write down that basically each of the hotel is controlled by I mean, there is a central hotel management system, and each of the hotel is actually controlled by the head office, because the standard price for the hotel is set up by the head office.
And the divisional managers, they have the authority, or the hotel managers have the authority to give a maximum
Discount.
25%. Okay. And what can we say about symbols and structure? As you mentioned, the organizational structure, it's balanced in a way that the board has five executive directors and five non-executive directors. You have four committees for four critical areas. The general managers, as we discussed, have an autonomy. They can give 25% discount. And on the procurement, there is oversight of the head office. If I were to talk of structural weaknesses, then of course there are 35 hotels and there is significant decentralization, which means a lot of decisions are left at the local body level and not taken at the head office level. You don't have a chief technology officer. You have a stretched central HR function because there is only HR at the central level, and devolved or decentralized HR system is not there. Also, senior management is quite distant from the actual operations. Okay. Symbols are, the tangible, visible parts of the brand representation. So in case of these hotels, the local decor reflecting regional themes, the staff uniforms and signage, and the high quality rooms and facilities, they are visual representations of the brand. However, outdated in-house servers, they basically mean that the company has not evolved with time. There are, inconsistencies which are visible to guests, and there are staff shortages which basically undermine the promise of high quality service, because if you don't have enough staff, then naturally it will lead to inability to deliver the service that you have originally promised to your patrons. Talking about control systems and power structures, can you comment on the control systems first? What exactly are control systems? And of course, what are power structures? How do we look at them here?
So the decision making power and overall look after of the staff.
Okay. Is it balanced right now?
So they are having organic growth, like they are not value chains. So they're having a more authority or control from they can not on franchise basis.
Okay.
So there is too much control by the general manager. So the staff would feel that they are uh, they are overly
So I believe.
overly controlled, I guess.
Then we can mention that the reward system is not good because of the high staff turnover in control system as well.
Okay. Can we say that the executive team, the board committees, the central team, they have the institutional shareholders. The power is mostly concentrated in their hands. At max, the general managers have the authority to give a 25% discount. Okay. Now, those, but it's not that, it's only the people at the top who shape the organizational culture, right? All elements, right from the junior most team members to the top management, everyone has a role to play when it comes to shaping the culture. And the way things appear right now, I think there is an imbalance. The ones, who there are those elements in the structure who shape who shape the culture of the entity, but they have less authority than those who control costs. There is a misalignment here. The IT governance structure is weak because there is no leadership role designed specifically for IT related challenges. Then there are critical gaps, I would say, in the control systems also, because what are the existing controls? You have SOPs in place for service processes. There is an internal audit function. There are certain financial KPIs defined, but there are no controls for cultural behavior. There is no system in place to track consistency in service. You don't have a very strong cybersecurity framework, or you don't have a method to tackle the increasing labor turnover. The KPIs also specifically have nothing on HR and ESG metrics, when in fact, when ESG is slowly and surely becoming the focus, and when the focus is on employee turnover, you don't have any KPIs in place in order to control that, and that might serve as a significant gap. What do you think, Rahul?
Yes, so
Yes, Zainab, tell me.
So I had a question. Can we also mention that they have standard operating procedures and that is why if they're using their own local theme as a differentiating factor, there's less flexibility for the staff to customize their welcomes and check-ins and stuff like that.
But
So
why do
there's
you
less
want to customize
flexibility.
check-ins and welcomes? Do you need, don't you think you have far too much customization already at each of the locations?
Yeah, actually, because they're using it as differentiating factor, so I thought maybe flexibility could be a point.
What they already have too much flexibility, in my opinion. Any more flexibility, and they could be 35 different entities altogether, right?
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Now, if we were to look at certain structural strengths, I would say there are certain values which are clearly espoused by the leadership and published for everyone to know. You have a strong guest satisfaction score, which is 4.5 to 4.4 wala range, which is not bad. Then authentic, distinctive brand identity is there. The governance structure appears sound, but of course, we did notice some gaps. And the staff genuinely does want to make an effort to care about guests, but high turnover undermines cultural consistency. There is, because 35 locations, each one has its own flavor, each one has its own unique local identity. I think somewhere that has created a lot of variability and inconsistency. And then stories and routines reveal workforce stress because they are working odd hours. There is no work life balance. The IT systems are basically outdated. The uniformity in culture is still aspirational and not embedded throughout the organization. And the service inconsistency contradicts the mission of the entity as a whole. And what would be some of the recommendations for transformation? Create the Lev Well Way service culture program, which basically means develop standardized behaviors, rituals, recognition schemes, and initiatives which will embed consistency without getting rid of the local distinctiveness. Strengthen people focus in KPIs. So you could introduce engagement scores, training hours per employee, value alignment indices, and hotel specific turnover metrics, along with the traditional financial measures. Because see, your problem right now is people. Your problem right now is people leaving the organization. Correct. So if that is your primary problem, you should make sure that there are certain KPIs in order to track retention, in order to track the constant exit of employees. You will have to refresh organizational symbols, maybe modernize the website and the booking systems, bring consistency there, introduce standard decor cues that reinforce core values across properties instead of allowing every location to function in a way they deem fit. Some level of standardization would be necessary. You will have to rebalance the power structure, elevate HR and service excellence roles, strengthen the IT role, and align the hotel general managers' incentives to quality metrics alongside the occupancy targets. Okay, so all of these are some of the recommendations that you could give in order to bring an alignment and consistency in the organization culture. And on your screen are four possible examination scenarios. Please go through those. ठीक है. अब अगेन, नो एरिया इज अ गारंटी इन इटसेल्फ, हाँ, कि यहाँ से क्वेश्चन आएगा ही आएगा. इट्स जस्ट व्हाट इज पॉसिबल. दिस इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ दैट डिस्कशन. ठीक है. नाउ लेट्स लुक एट द बोर्ड कॉम्पोजिशन. There was a board structure that was given to us, and I think there we some of you made references to the board structure here and there. Let's have a look at the board structure. Lev Wells board comprises 10 members split equally between executive and non-executive leadership. 5 executive directors, 5 non-executive directors. 50-50 balance, decent enough. Then chairperson and CEO are different people, preventing concentration of power and enhancing independent oversight. Then you have 4 dedicated committees, which for 4 specialized areas. Critical skill gaps within the board. You don't have anyone for technology and cyber security. You don't have anyone for HR and people strategy. You don't really have a dedicated role for ESG and sustainability. And right now, the way it appears, you don't have any expert on industry specific knowledge. So these competency gaps may hinder the board's ability to provide effective oversight in areas critical to Lev Wells' strategic success and risk management. So what is this? This is again talking about what are the gaps in my board of directors right now. Okay, the 4 committee governance architecture, it's good. The audit committee oversees internal audit function, financial controls, regulatory compliance, and external audit. Risk committee monitors strategic risk, maintains risk register, determines risk appetite, and ensures mitigation strategy. Then remuneration committee and nomination committee, we know what roles they play. And separate audit and risk committee means the company is aligned with the idea that it will face dynamic and ever-changing risks, which is why a dedicated risk committee is necessary. Some of the problems with the audit committee, as we know or as we see right now, they don't have any dedicated IT audit capability. There is You don't have too much focus on operational consistency audits, as you can see, because every location is different, and that has not been highlighted as one of the points for the organization as a risk factor. Okay, then high staff turnover suggests culture risks not adequately monitored or audited. And in hotel sector or in hospitality sector, I think this would definitely play a critical role. Then, of course, there is supply chain oversight. Outsourced services may lack robust assurance frameworks. Uh, if the internal audit team does not, or the audit committee does not focus on the quality of service and the consistency provided by the laundry, cleaning, and local suppliers, it might impact the overall quality, which affects the financial performance of the organization. ठीक है. Risk committee is monitoring, but there is no adequate control mechanism. Cybersecurity oversight is not there. People risk elevation has, I mean, people risk issues have not been the focus of the risk committee, and as in no specific measure has been discussed on that front. Same thing goes for ESG integration. You have not incorporated environmental and sustainability risks into risk framework ahead of regulatory requirements. So that definitely plays a role. Key some of the important risk areas that the organization should be focusing on through the risk committee don't find the right kind of focus, or they do not get attention of the risk committee bana ke rakha hai. They are looking at your regular matters, but these critical ones are not being given the importance they deserve. ठीक है. Remuneration committee maintains independent oversight of executive pay through NED leadership, but incentive structures appear misaligned with Lev Well's most strategic challenges. Current KPIs likely emphasize occupancy rates and short-term financial metrics while neglecting fundamental drivers of sustainable performance. How do we know this? If you look at the 6 KPIs that the organization is working on, all of these 6 KPIs are either about revenue or they are about occupancy, right? They are not about, they're not directly linked to guest satisfaction score. They are not anyway connected with the staff retention data. Nowhere is the focus on training completion. Then training just becomes a tick in the box, like how we used to do at EY. Training karna hai to just keep the system on and you continue doing your job. Or how you do EPSM, right? You don't really do it because it will be going on in some other system and you will be playing a game in the other system. I mean, there are people who ask me कि sir solve करके देंगे क्या? I said उतना तो you should do ना. That also I can't do for you. But yes, that is not a, in the case of the organization there are no KPIs defined for training, and therefore whether the workforce is sufficiently trained or not is something you are not able to establish right now. Also, no specific KPIs or no specific emphasis has been placed on following the compliance protocol. So there is so what you could do better in terms of giving incentives to the senior management is that you could keep compliance also as one of their KPIs for getting their required bonus, not just revenue, not just occupancy. That would probably help you to improve the quality of service, right? In your nomination committee, uh, we don't know how exactly right now are they mapping the directors for nomination. Okay. When it comes to NED recruitment in the future, the focus should be on experts in cybersecurity, HR strategy, ESG, right? Diversity enhancement. See, one of the roles of the nomination committee is to ensure that there is sufficient diversity in the board, and in the future, your focus can be on that as it can be on succession planning as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to looking at the internal audit function, uh, again, the focus is on only the routine financial matters right now, but you will have to turn your attention to IT and cybersecurity auditing, operational excellence audit, as in day-to-day operations. Are you following the standard operating procedures to the T, and are there any gaps? Then cultures and value assurance. Now, this is a qualitative aspect, something which technically you are not equipped to see on a regular basis. Then ESG and compliance coverage, you will have to expand the scope of internal audit along with supply chain assurance. All of these will help you to, first of all, standardize the inputs and quality of service. And then, of course, it will help you further in maintaining consistency across the organization, thereby improving the customer experience overall. So, your immediate priorities are a refresh to the board, realignment of KPI, clear statements on the risk appetite, how much risk can you tolerate, and then audit expansion. Broaden internal audit scope to cover IT, culture, and operations. And naturally, as the organization keeps on developing, you will have to strengthen the coordination through joint meetings and information sharing protocols, implement board effectiveness evaluations with external facilitation, because you will need someone to check how efficiently are the board members doing their job. You will also have to develop and you will also have to develop an effective succession planning program, so that tomorrow when the directors come to retire, you should have their replacements ready. So all of these, again, when you look at the board, that analysis cannot just be about the better parts or how they have gotten the four committees in place. The analysis should also focus on what are the gaps right now. And we did analyze that issues such as, uh, diversity or having an IT and cybersecurity expert, all of these issues have not been addressed in the current board setup, and this might help us to tackle it better in the future. Okay, now you could have multiple questions on the board, mostly about structure or the gaps in the board structure right now. So you should be aligned कि भाई इस पे अगर question आया तो we should be able to answer that. Now, a question might often be asked, maybe not directly, but through some form or the other, on understanding whether the values and the vision, mission, whatever of the organization, is the organization on the right track for achieving it. Okay. Now, if you look at the pre-scene, this is the mission statement: to provide an exceptional experience for every guest every time. This mission reflects a service driven, guest centric philosophy where consistency and quality are paramount. In hospitality, where brand reputation depends entirely on customer experience, this is a very high, you know, this is like reaching for the stars. Plus, I believe that there is a problem here. What is the problem? When you say exceptional customer experience every time, how do you define exceptional? Don't you think that's a little vague? है ना? So if it is vague, then your KPIs should try to incorporate this mission statement in some way. Ki how do you define exceptional, right? And then they have five espoused values that they are working on. What are these values? basically care for guest, staff, and community. Then excellence in every interaction with the customer. After that, responsibility, working in an ethical, compliant manner, and working with the right sustainability goals, building a positive morale and a decent working environment for your staff, and then, of course, teamwork, collaboration across the chain. So, customer experience, evidence upholding the mission. Are you able to work towards that particular mission? Guest satisfaction is consistently high, a rating of 4.4, 4.5. The hotels feature authentic local decor offering unique identity. Customers are happy. SOPs exist for housekeeping and reception, point in favor of delivering exceptional experience. Majority of customer facing staff genuinely care. Points in favor. What are the points not in favor? Service inconsistency across 35 hotels undermines the experience. The reviews deteriorate quickly during staff shortages, so you are not able to deliver the greatest experience to the team, sorry, to the guests. Then, general managers discount up to 25%, prioritizing occupancy over experience. They are focused you know, mostly on getting people to stay at the hotel and then not really caring about the customer experience. And IT system outages risk ruining entire guest stays. If check-in is not happening, if billing is a problem, if there are times when mostly I take an early morning flight because those are cheaper naturally. I take those early morning flights. The flight is at 5:30 a.m. That means I have to be at the airport at 3:30 a.m., which means I should leave my hotel at 3 a.m. And at 3 a.m., the staff is sleepy, no doubt. Second problem, their system is not working. Ye band ho gaya, wo band ho gaya. And naturally, then you worry about whether you will be able to reach your location on time. And then, of course, it creates a bitter experience for me as well, right? So in case of Level, it partially fulfills its mission. The intent is correct, but operational weaknesses in IT infra, people management, and consistency undermine delivery of exceptional experience at all times. Okay. Then care is also one of their objectives, right? External care for guests is there. High satisfaction rating hai, distinctive decor hai, local sourcing is helping you build relationships. But that does not reflect well on the employee front because the staff turnover is high. There is seasonal burnout. The HR lacks board level influence. HR is just a support function and they are not able to frame the right kind of policies. And then there is inadequate IT support right now. So, while you are trying to keep outsiders happy, at the same time, internally, you are not trying to keep your staff is not happy. So, a lot of it does not really, make that much of a difference. Okay. So it is only 50% successful on the external front, but on the internal front, of course, it has failed. Service and responsibility. Service quality remains generally high during stable periods, supported by standard operating procedures and strong guest rating. However, inconsistency across locations undermines the value. High turnover leads to untrained staff, significant variations between locations. Laundry outsourcing creates service delays, and it might create service delays, not necessarily. And the food and beverage quality varies due to supplier inconsistency. So, see, in a MACD, whichever location or outlet you go to in India, you get the same taste, right? Because there is standardization in terms of which aloo they will use and which bread they will use, everything. But here it might be difficult because they are dependent on local suppliers. ठीक है. Lev well maintains compliance with health and safety regulations and has established governance structures, including 4 committees. Yet operationalization remains aspirational. Aspirational means it is something that you are thinking of or working towards, but you don't really have a strong system in place right now. ठीक है. to tackle the daily inconsistencies. You don't have, a dedicated ESG oversight at board level. There is service failure quite possible during peak seasons, and only partially you are able to achieve that. There are weak IT controls. The one of the issues that we have been highlighting since yesterday. What is that? It is the fact that the entity right now is not able to, it has a physical in-house server, nothing is on the cloud, and that naturally, puts a lot of stress. Minimum staff turnover is 38%, maximum is 41%. So all your talks about positivity, I think, go down the drain. Uh, the general managers have an autonomy to give up to 25% discount. Again, this shows inconsistency. Some of them, in order to fulfill their individual organizational goals, might end up giving you, their approach to it might be different. है ना? Their approach to giving discounts, somebody would focus more on occupancy, others could focus on experience, and ultimately throughout the organization, it's not aligned. They are not working as a team, they are working in silos. The positivity value is not consistently experienced. High turnover, seasonal overload, IT failures, and inconsistency in training, they creates more stress rather than a positive working environment. Okay. There are small pockets of positivity, but overall it seems a little misaligned. And when you are trying to evaluate values on a organization level, mission, part of it is upheld, unique hotels, local sourcing, 4.4 ka rating, but there are service inconsistency issues, turnover and IT gaps. Same thing for care, service responsibility, which we have discussed. I would just want you to go through this once. Where? Okay. Strategic recommendations for value embedding, chain-wide service excellence program. I think this is something they have been harping on for some time, that you need a consistent, uniform program throughout the organization. While on one hand, you can maintain the local decor, local culture, but service quality has to be benchmarked. You have to include people who are representatives of HR and IT/cybersecurity in the board, because their presence will be important for shaping the direction of the organization. Then cultural web intervention, reset organizational stories, routines, and symbols through focused change management. Basically, try to change the narrative of the organization by providing better working conditions to your employees, and make sure that you have the right symbols for the kind of image that you want to portray about the organization. Try to develop that. Then values aligned KPI framework, introduce new performance metrics, staff engagement scores, turnover per hotel, service quality audits, complaint resolution time, and cyber readiness. These KPI values are measurable and they could hold the leaders accountable for cultural delivery. Basically, going back to the same point, right now, all the KPIs are focused on occupancy or revenue. If you want the organization to have a 360-degree growth, at the same time improving the guest satisfaction and achieving those objectives that you have set out for, then you will have to either add to the KPI or change the existing KPI. And then, of course, there's a digital transformation initiative which modernizes the hotel management system and booking infra, reducing IT outages and employee frustration, directly supports service and responsibility values while improving operational efficiency and guest experience. You know that if the employees are happy, they will keep the guests happy. And if not, then of course the guests are going to suffer. So developing protocols inside the organization for care of the employees, making sure that the IT outages are not there, giving them adequate incentives for their work, all of this will help to take some load off. Okay, then critical success factors and risk mitigation. Okay, first is operational issues, then structural weaknesses, lack of HR influence at board level, no unified service standards and fragmented IT infra, and then cultural disconnect. In the sense, strong care for customers and guests and weak internal care for staff, it creates unsustainable contradictions. Staff will feel uncared for, and they, as a consequence, they might not be then willing to provide the same level of service and satisfaction to the customers, and then customers also become unhappy in the process, because the top management is not standing at the reception desk or acting as a valet to take your suitcases up to the room, right? It is the staff who is doing it, so that same care has to be extended to them as well. And your key performance indicators to embed values genuinely, Lev well must measure what matters: staff engagement, quarterly surveys tracking morale and satisfaction, turnover by hotel, identify problem locations and management issues. Maybe the turnover is being driven by a couple of poor performing hotels and not all 35. So you will have to do that analysis and then work towards improving the experience at that hotel. Service quality audits. I think yesterday I told you about the mystery shopping activity that we used to do at EY. They are recommending the same, improving the crisis resolution time, complaint resolution time, and cyber readiness. Okay, just have a look at this from aspiration to operationalization. I'll be back in a moment. Well, I mean, honestly, staff turnover of 40%, basically two-fifth of your staff is leaving the organization every year. If that is not a cause for concern, I really don't know what is. Okay, now let's have a look at the financial information and the measurable KPIs that have been given to us. Okay, now revenue has increased from 182 million to 229 million over 4 years, and it's a 26% cumulative growth. Looks decent. Uh, ये ना थोड़ा मैंने अपने एंड से डाला था, रिकवरी ऑफ पोस्ट पैंडेमिक डिमांड। वो आई ऑल्सो गेट कैरिड अवे समटाइम्स while I'm writing. You're not supposed to write that. ये मैंने ऐसे जोश जोश में लिख दिया था. Then occupancy rates seem to be rising. Average daily rate is stable, and there appears to be effective yield management, as in the pricing is happening that way. Levels revenue growth is slightly above industry average, demonstrating solid market positioning. ठीक है. Then talking about profit margin. The year one margin is 13.2%. Then 14.1 in year 4, which has improved. That is the starting baseline for comparison. Industry average for the 4% 4-star hotel is 10%. So in spite of rising labor cost, in spite of rising energy expenses, intense competition and all of the challenges, the company has in fact been able to deliver a better profitability as compared to the other players in the same domain. So that means robust cost control is there. Occupancy rate year 1 was 73, year 4 is 77. A 4 percentage point improvement over 4 years demonstrates effective demand management for rural and coastal hotels facing high seasonality. 77% annual average occupancy is impressive. 4-star hotels ka 70 to 75% and level is on the upper end of the spectrum. So good. The revenue per available room has increased steadily from 121 to 136. Level at the upper end of the industry range of 110 to 130. This growth suggests effective average daily ADR management, successful demand optimization, and strong brand equity. ठीक है. Revenue per available room serves as a critical composite metric combining occupancy and pricing performance, and company seems to have done slightly better as compared to the industry. ठीक है. Not much, slightly better. Year 1 versus year 4 also, in both years the company seems to have done a better job. The guest satisfaction score was 4.4 in year 1. It has grown to 4.5 in year 4. Okay. And hotels achieving a rating of 4.3 dominate the online travel agency rankings and enjoy premium positioning. And the company is above that. So again, that indicates a satisfactory position. Talking about employee turnover right now, this is a critical weakness. 38 to 41%, it far exceeds the industry benchmark of 25 to 30%, represents a major operational vulnerability. सर्विस इनकंसिस्टेंसी प्रॉब्लम है, मोरल इश्यूज है, राइजिंग कॉस्ट है, वीक एचआर सपोर्ट है. All of these are problems. If we were to get a snapshot, for revenue we are outperforming, profit margin we are above average, occupancy rate we perform better, revenue per available room is at the upper end, guest satisfaction is excellent, employee turnover is a major weakness right now. So what I have done here is I have noted down the performance metrics. I have given the industry number, I have given the company number, and then commented on whether you are within or above the range. Okay. Now, external performance, financial strength shows strong revenue growth and profit margins. There is operational excellence in the sense that there is a high occupancy and the revenue per available room is also pretty high. Whereas the customer satisfaction ratings, they are consistently above the industry average. Okay. On the internal front, but employees are unhappy, which is reflected in the high employee turnover. There are cultural vulnerabilities and there is future risk exposure due to service inconsistency and reputation problem. Level exhibits a critical mismatch between strong external performance indicators and weak internal health, and that could be signs of problems to come. And how do you address the people challenge? I think we have been talking about this on and on and on about lack of IT controls or lack of cyber security. Then we have also spoken about how the employee turnover is becoming a problem, and lack of controls there could present other long-term challenges. Revenue, I have not calculated. It is given in the pre-seen material. ठीक है? And you might get some of these data points additionally in the paper. So while see these numbers, I'm repeating again and again, the importance of pre-seen in your paper is barely 20%. We have done two papers together, Corjets and Yex Marine. Tell me how many times did you refer the pre-seen while solving those two questions? आप pre-seen पे ज्यादा beyond the point ध्यान मत देना, हाँ? There are people who, because there is insecurity and all sorts of challenges that you have, you will end up watching pre-seen material of 5 to 10 different tutors. मेरा भी देखेंगे, मेरे साथ तो you have already spent how many? 4.5 hours yesterday, around 1 hour has been spent today, 5.5 hours. You will go through the material, so you will spend 6-8 hours on my pre-scene analysis. Then you will watch somebody else's, then somebody else's, then somebody else's. Even if you watch 5 pre-scene, that's 35 hours gone down the drain, minimum. You want to do that given एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग की प्रीसीन का कितना इम्पैक्ट है आपके फाइनल पेपर पे, है ना? योर फाइनल पेपर हैज, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वर देयर व्हेन आई सॉल्व्ड एक्स मरीन एंड कॉर्जेट्स? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वर सिटिंग लाइव? राइट? प्लस आई हैव गिवन यू वन मोर क्वेश्चन ना, आपको कौन सा दिया है मैंने टेस्ट में? पीएसएस दिया है, राइट? नो नो, एनसी टेक तो आई एम गोइंग टू डू विथ यू. आई हैव गिवन यू
Yes, sir, PSS.
PSS I have given you. How much relevance do you observe between the questions that are asked and the pre-seen material? When you walk into the exam hall, I can proffer to change my name tomorrow if you find as much as more than 15 to 20% implication of that pre-seen material in the paper. The job that we are trying to achieve is all these models and all that we have applied. It is intended to help you frame your answers in the paper. It is not, प्लीज डोंट वॉक इन टू द पेपर विद दिस एक्सपेक्टेशन इन माइंड कि ये ऐसे का ऐसा पूछा जाएगा, ऐसे का ऐसा पूछा नहीं जाएगा. A lot of times what happens is people walk in with a preconceived notion that Satyamit predicted this question or some other faculty predicted this question, and Satyamit's pre-seen mock was based on this and somebody else's pre-seen mock was based on this. So you know what? This is what they have asked me in the paper. Students don't even read the requirement carefully and they end up answering something that was never asked in the first place. If any one of you has written the SBL paper before this, you will understand. When we did EX Marine, didn't I write the summary of requirements in front of each exhibit and didn't I correlate that this exhibit relates to employee dissatisfaction, this exhibit relates to so and so? Everything that you need to do is coming in the exhibit. Pre-seen material, apart from giving you a background, has got no other role. Anybody trying to tell you otherwise is trying to sell a course on YouTube or trying to get your attention. It doesn't work that way. I have been, this is my fifth consecutive quarter in which I am actively observing SBL paper and conducting batches. 5 quarter back to back, plus analysis of the papers that were done before this. Pre-scene पे क्वेश्चन नहीं आ, उतना उतना क्या कुछ भी नहीं आएगा pre-scene पे. Please keep that in mind. So how much attention do you want to devote for pre-scene is a decision that you have to make. ठीक है? My recommendation to you at this point, if you are preparing, the models that I have identified and we have discussed: Porter's five forces, Pestel, Ansoff, or we mapping the financial metrics. Why are we doing all of this? Why am I showing you? This is to give you a direction. कि पेपर में अगर दे आस्क यू टू कंपेयर द कंपनीज अचीवमेंट विद द जनरल इंडस्ट्री टारगेट्स, this is the kind of comparison that you will give, and these are the kind of comments that you will put in. Didn't we do the same thing in EX Marine? Didn't we do the same thing in Corjets? Correct. Plus, when we did Corjets, we did it twice. Once we wrote our answer, and then we also saw what their answer is. है ना? What is ACCA's ideal suggestion? So, I believe if you have gone through the syllabus areas that I have identified for you, what do I mean by that? Syllabus areas that I have identified. Let me give you an example. Instead of calling it master list of possible SBL questions, think about this as possible syllabus areas that can be tested on. Okay. So for example, if the question is on using suitability, acceptability, feasibility proposal, see what you can read about suitability, acceptability, feasibility on the study hub. Go there or see what you can read in my notes. आपको डेटा वैसे भी लिमिटेड ही मिलेगा वहां पे. और यूजिंग द आंसर ऑफ मैट्रिक्स टू असेस growth opportunities for level, we have done that analysis yesterday. Penetration, development, जो भी है. So the whole objective of this exercise is to lead you to, out of those 25-30 different syllabus areas on the study hub, the objective is कि यार 25.1, 18.2, 13.4, those 500 topics that you have, I'm trying to narrow down the topics for you कि बोर्ड पढ़ के जाना, मिशन विजन वैल्यूज ये पार्ट पढ़ के जाना, फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर्स पढ़ के जाना. The question, this is not the reason why a lot of people have that anxiety, is that because they are trying to correlate this with the other exams you have written in your life in ACCA or otherwise. I told you on day one itself, this is not that kind of a paper. It basically, you are looking for steps. Step one, group structure, date of acquisition, decide whether it is a mid-year acquisition or not. Step two, fair value of net assets of subsidiary on acquisition date. This is not that kind of a paper. It relies only on common sense, 80% common sense, 20% referring to certain concepts in the study hub while trying to answer the questions. That is literally all that you are supposed to do. इसके ऊपर if you try to do anything, it will not help you. वो पेपर वैसा है ही नहीं. आप कितना भी प्रिपेयर करो, आई ऑलवेज बिलीव somebody who has spent 4 months on SBL and somebody who has spent 4 proper days on SBL are equally ready for the paper. Sometimes the 4-day guy might score better than the 4-month person. There is no distinctive method like you have in ATX, AFM, SBR, AAA कि यही यही करना है, ऐसा नहीं है. Don't have that expectation. Don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure कि अभी ये वैल्यू कैसे, इधर के ना कोई भी वैल्यूज आपके किसी काम में नहीं आने वाले हैं. बाय द वे, let me tell you, has anyone written SBL before this? कोई लिख के आया है SBL? राहुल, टेल योर एक्सपीरियंस.
So basically, there was nothing from the pre-scene. Just you have once you have written read the pre-scene, you get to know that key some things that you can click at the exam time at that moment in real time. Not even 5% has been came from the pre-scene, and you have to nothing you can write from the pre-scene, or everything is in the exhibit.
And do you really have to refer to a lot of tech? एक तो SBL doesn't have technical concept. Do you feel the need to refer to any technical concept while answering the question?
No, no. So I have submitted Xmarine, and I have not used a single model in there.
ACCA has given a very clear instruction that you don't need to refer models. If you zabardasti try to refer models, you will lose marks if it is not applicable in that situation. Please keep that in mind. So stop treating it like a. Are there any Indian chartered accountants here?
Yes, sir. Sir, I am an Indian chartered accountant.
So ये CA फाइनल नहीं है.
Okay, sir.
Don't look at it. Is this your first ACCA paper?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then you are in for quite a surprise. This is not CA final. This ACCA में इतना टेक्निकल कुछ है ही नहीं. SBL में तो बिल्कुल नहीं है. So when I think was it you who pointed out the dollar and the pound?
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
Yes, sir.
At that moment I thought this is an Indian CA speaking. Because वो we are trained to look at things that way. See, that's a very good point. Okay, but यहाँ पे ना आपको थोड़ा नैरेटिव माइंडसेट रखना पड़ेगा. आपको
Okay,
न्यूमेरिकल
sir.
माइंडसेट नहीं रखना है, आपको नैरेटिव माइंडसेट रखना है. यू हैव टू बी एबल टू explain or put across a particular point. When I have done that Corjet's company wala question na, it's there on my YouTube channel. There I have shown what a good answer and what a bad answer looks like and what do you get marks for. ACCA is very clear. If they have asked you, say for example, say one of the questions is prepare a slide, है ना? Prepare a slide on the importance of NEDs and speaker notes. So slide में क्या डालना है, speaker note में क्या डालना है is very clearly defined. Slide में just put the pointers in short and speaker notes में explain. Don't अच्छा, one very important point for everyone. I am repeating this, I think, for the 100th time in last 20 days, last 10 days minimum. एग्जिबिट के बाहर का कुछ भी मत डालना पेपर में. यू माइट नो मोर अबाउट होटल इंडस्ट्री, यू माइट नो मोर अबाउट हाउ अ सर्टन डिश इज प्रिपेयर्ड, बट फॉर गॉड सेक डू नॉट add your point while writing the answer. If they say that gulab jamun is made out of eggs in the exhibit, please state that. Don't add your own reference ki nahi nahi it is not made this way, humko zyada aata hai. Nobody is asking how is that made. If the question says something, simply follow. Read. Now we know how to read the task. पता है अपने को टास्क को पहले पूरा टास्क पढ़ो, फिर फॉर्मेट, एक्सपेक्टेड फॉर्मेट लिखो, फिर प्रोफेशनल स्किल आइडेंटिफाई करो एंड समराइज द रिक्वायरमेंट इन 4 to 5 words. है ना? एडवांटेजेस ऑफ दिस, बेनिफिट्स ऑफ दैट, उतना उसको ट्राई टू कट शॉर्ट the reading part. एक बार देख लिया. Now cut short the reading part, write the requirement in brief. When you are reading, immediate, don't read the exhibit first, read the requirement first. ठीक है? And usually you must have observed if there is task 1, 2, 3, it corresponds with exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4. उसी सीक्वेंस में आता है ना? है ना? ये अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग, ये इंडियन सी ये नहीं है कि कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट बनाने के टाइम ईयर का ऑर्डर रिवर्स कर दिया जस्ट टू कंफ्यूज यू. है ना? अगेन नॉट इंडियन सी है कि आपको हमको आते थे ऐसे क्वेश्चंस, रेशियोज दे दिया उससे उल्टा कंस्ट्रक्ट द बैलेंस शीट. इधर ये सब नहीं है, इधर सीक्वेंस में ही पूछेंगे. सो इफ देयर इज टास्क 1, मोस्टली इट विल कॉरेस्पॉन्ड विद एग्जिबिट 1. ऑल्सो another thing that you will observe is one task corresponds to one exhibit only. It's not as if you have to look at 3 exhibits together to answer one question. है ना? Even in
Yes.
AAA for that matter, they specifically say कि अगर if you want to talk about significant audit risk, look at exhibit 2, 3 and 4. Don't look at 5 or don't talk about this issue. So a SBL paper or any other paper for that matter, they give you very clear instructions. There is no ambiguity. Get out of the numerical mindset, get into the narrative mindset कि आपको situation को describe करना है. Zainab, don't be extra creative. That might be a problem in the paper. I know how your mind is creative.
Yes,
You're trying to find out different aspects of looking at it, reading between the lines. Don't do it. Reading between the lines
yeah,
is not helping.
yeah.
हाँ, वो देखो, आप प्रॉब्लम क्या है आप लोगों का सबका, आपका आईक्यू इधर है. ठीक है, आपका पेपर इधर है. Usually people have an opposite problem. Their IQ is here, the paper is here. This is ulta. You are here, paper is this. Come down to this level. Don't try to look at things from this level because वो help नहीं करेगा. You will try to make some PhD report in the paper. They are not asking you that. They have very clear expectations from you. What are those expectations? Keep prepare a report for the board of directors which talks about suitability, acceptability, feasibility. ठीक है. अब आई थिंक द क्वेश्चन दैट वी सॉ हैड वो मिलिट्री प्लेन्स एंड वो वाला था ना उसमें. सो दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट इज वेरी क्लियर कि यार वो जो एआई सिस्टम है इट कैनॉट बी यूज्ड फॉर, while it can be used for military planes and it is giving a good result there, but it is not suitable for our scenario. Suitability means, are we fitting in well together? Acceptability means, is this proposal acceptable to everyone, all the stakeholders, सारे stakeholders के point से बताओ. And feasibility मतलब possibility, NPV angle, IR मतलब numerical angle से, या technical feasibility हो सकता है, market feasibility हो सकता है. Think about it that way. Don't try to insert something technical where it is not required. The other day, Shreya asked me, "Oh, did you just give a list of topics to do because people were asking and you had nothing in mind?" That's not the case. When I'm saying risk पढ़ो, it's because risk is going to be tested in the paper. आपके सारे पेपर में AFM हो गया, ट्रिपल ए हो गया, सब में रिस्क आता है. SBL में भी रिस्क विल बी इंपॉर्टेंट. 3 लाइन्स ऑफ डिफेंस, रिस्क रजिस्टर, रिस्क हीट मैप. और वो हीट मैप यार, कम ऑन, ऑल ऑफ यू आर मिनिमम 18-19 ईयर ओल्ड ना. आपको पता है ना, रेड इज डेंजर एंड ग्रीन इज नॉट डेंजर. करेक्ट. उसमें समझाने का कुछ भी नहीं है. डोंट वरी, इट्स गोइंग टू बी इजी. एट मैक्स दे माइट आस्क यू रिस्पॉन्सेस टू द रिस्क. टारा फ्रेमवर्क लगा दो. राइट. सो let's say you don't know, remember the Tara framework. You are someone who has walked into that examination hall without looking at even one book or one topic. बिना कुछ देखे you have walked into the exam hall. बेसिक अक्कल है ना अपने में, right? If you see that there is risk of your stock getting destroyed by fire, how will you tackle that risk? Chalo batao. How will you tackle this risk that your stock might catch fire? You need an appropriate risk response.
It's a low possibility but a high impact. So we can, I think, insure our goods.
Okay.
So transfer it using the Tara model. Transfer the
Tara,
risk.
you know nothing. You have wasted your time. You know nothing. You walk into the exam hall. The risk is stock will catch fire. Option one, have a fire extinguisher. Right. Option two, insurance.
Insurance.
Or option three, hire an astrologer. No, that is not one of the risk responses, right? But it's easy, right? Train the staff. Fire extinguisher लगा के काफी नहीं है ना, वो चलाने भी आना चाहिए, right? Very good. So you only are telling me the answers, right? Did you look at any models for this? No. You answered based on facts of the case. See, I'm not saying SBL is a stupid paper, but it's not an intelligent paper either. Chill. आई सी सो मेनी पीपल ऐसा ऑन द एज कि ऐसे टच करूंगा तो बेचारे रो पड़ेंगे. देयर इज नो नीड टू फील दैट वे. आपको क्या लगता है? इतना सो मेनी पीपल क्लियर. आई हैव सीन पीपल हु माइट फेल अदर पेपर्स बट दे क्लियर एसपीएल. हाउ? बिकॉज दे यूज कॉमन सेंस, not because they have some great technical knowledge. Correct. So first of all, get that risk out of your, sorry, get that risk nahi, get that stress out of your system. The risk will not be there. See, 49 is two things. A, bad luck. Second, the way of writing answers is not something that was focused on probably. Correct. आंसर कैसे लिखना है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, विच इज वाई आई फोकस सो मच ऑन द गुड आंसर बैड आंसर थिंग ना. When we did X Marine also, I mentioned कि ये point नहीं चलेगा, ये point चलेगा, ऐसे लिखो. There's a reason, because how you write is important. What you write, यार उन्होंने खुद ने कुछ काम की बात लिखी है जो आपसे काम की बात एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे. ये क्या है, होटल चेक इन चेक आउट, ये कोई इंटेलिजेंट लोगों की बात नहीं है ना. दिस इज स्टूपिड. ट्रीट इट दैट वे. डोंट ऐड दैट अननेसेसरी लेयर ऑफ स्ट्रेस की नहीं नहीं आएगा नहीं आएगा. क्यों नहीं आएगा यार, बहुत इजी है. आई एम टेलिंग यू. बस थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेस कम रखो एंड थोड़ा सा कॉमन सेंस रखो. जो आप बाकी जगह लगाते हो ना, वो बस पेपर में लगा. सी, आई टेल यू, इन अदर सब्जेक्ट्स अपना दिमाग मत लगाना, मेरे स्टेप्स फॉलो करो. अपना स्टेप यूज किया तो मार्क नहीं. हियर आई एम टेलिंग यू, अपना दिमाग एंड facts of the case, just marry them together and you have your answer. And try to be people who look at solutions. ठीक है. हर solution में प्रॉब्लम मत ढूंढो. मेरा कॉमन सेंस वाला दिमाग नहीं चला तो अभी तक चला है ना, आगे भी चलेगा. क्यों नहीं चलेगा? ऐसा कुछ नहीं पूछने वाले आपको. भाई लिमिटिंग फैक्टर मत बोल, लोग डर जाएंगे. पीएम में छोड़ के गए होंगे आधे लोग. नहीं, इसने पीसी पे लिखा है. थैंक गॉड। प्लीज, इट्स अ रिक्वेस्ट, इसको उतना ही इज्जत दो जितना इज्जत ये पेपर डिजर्व करता है। डोंट गिव इट द स्ट्रेस इट डजंट डिजर्व। आपको स्ट्रेस चाहिए, कम टू मी ना इन एएफएम। आई विल गिव यू स्ट्रेस। कम फॉर एटीएक्स, आई विल गिव यू वॉल्यूम। डोंट वरी। बट दिस इज नॉट द पेपर टू फील दैट। प्लीज डोंट डू दैट। मैं दूंगा, अच्छा खासा स्ट्रेस दूंगा आपको। बट इधर वो सब नहीं है। ट्रिपल ए में लेना है तो स्ट्रेस लो, इधर मत लो। आई एम सेइंग दिस विथ अ रीजन। ये अक्षय को देखो, उसको एटीएक्स पढ़ना चाहिए, वो आके इधर टेंशन लेके बैठा है। कैसे थोड़ी चलेगा अक्षय। नहीं मतलब देखो, बट गिव अटेंशन टू। इज देयर एनीवन हु इज राइटिंग अनदर पेपर? श्रेया इज राइटिंग एसबीआर, पिंकी is writing ATX. You guys have better things to do in life than worry about this. Trust me. दूसरे पेपर है ना दुनिया में स्ट्रेस लेने के लिए। एसबीआर में करो कंसोलिडेटेड कैश फ्लो श्रेया, स्ट्रेस मिल जाएगा आपको। इधर मत देखो यार, क्या आप लोग भी छोटी छोटी बातों का स्ट्रेस लेते हो। SBL is your last paper. Very good. Then you will become an affiliate. ट्रिपल ए का लो थोड़ा सा, इसका मत लो प्लीज। हाँ, एटीएक्स का भी लो थोड़ा सा, याद करो अच्छे से, यहाँ पे मत करो।
सर आप हमें मिलने आओगे, हम आईसीसी एफिलिएट बन जाएंगे तो?
आप बताओ, हम आ जाएंगे। I would love to come to Mumbai at all occasions. I just don't get enough opportunity these days. Otherwise, I'll come. आप पढ़ो, अब जाओ तो एग्जाम लिखने तो जाओ, रोना धोना बंद करो, एग्जाम लिखो। क्या बच्चों जैसे टेंशन लेते हो। चलो, दिस इज अ समरी ऑफ लेववेल्स बिजनेस मॉडल, ठीक है। अब मैं बार बार नहीं पढ़ने वाला हूं, सेम चीज। बी गुड बॉयज एंड गुड गर्ल्स एंड रीड इट। एंड आई एम नॉट स्क्रोलिंग थ्रू रील्स, सो डोंट अक्यूज मी ऑफ दैट। मैं भी पढ़ ही रहा हूं आपके साथ। चलो, मे बी आई कैन स्क्रोल थ्रू रील्स, बट यू शुड रीड दिस बिकॉज आपको लिखना है पेपर। फटाफट पढ़ो। Tell me when you want me to scroll. Don't scroll through reels. Yes, Zainab.
So I had a question. Since they are mainly focused and concentrated to rural and coastal locations, if they ask us to analyze expanding into cities and core city areas, then is it supposed to be considered with the matrix, like ends of matrix or something like that,
Ideally, yes.
right? So will it be differentiation or sorry, I think it will be market. No, yeah, market penetration because it's the existing hotel chain,
Yes.
right? Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That's cool.
Sure.
Done, sir.
There's something that I want to show on SAF also, वो भी दिखाता हूँ, पहले आप ये देख लो लेकिन। Just an overview, nothing else. आप पढ़ो, I'll be back in a moment. This is again copied from the same source. Operational pressure and risk, winter low season challenges, pricing policy का summary है which we have addressed in so many settings. Then yield management technology, ये देख लो लगे तो एक बार.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have a question on this yield management.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, how often the prices are changed using this yield management? Can it be a number of times in a day?
Or that they haven't specified in the pre-scene.
Okay, sir, but I'm asking generally, like
No
in
way
the
for us to
industry.
know right now. This is a
Okay, sir.
hypothetical case, right? There's no way for us to know.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Sir,
You
can
can,
we expect, hello?
yes, tell me.
Sir, can we expect any question or task related to information technology in this pre-scene?
I mean, there is something related to a
Like,
cloud-based approach that we have discussed. So definitely,
yeah, sir, like IT, IA, automation, etc. Like that.
might be tested.
Thank you.
Yes, Samir.
So where have they mentioned regarding the travel agency thing?
दिखाता हूँ दिखाता हूँ. ठीक है. See, some of them, like जैसे here I have added a little part from my end in order to make it comprehensive. But I think we have discussed governance structure, risk management, local versus centralized. ये laundry वाला issue है. See, this is my addition to it. ठीक है. This they have not written anywhere. R0, R12 to 24, just giving you an idea कि थोड़ा सा मतलब what can the exhibit contain which can be slightly different. बट सो थोड़ा सा मेरे एंड से भी मैंने एडिशन किया है टू इलस्ट्रेट अ पॉइंट कि हाउ कैन लॉन्ड्री डिपेंडेंसी क्रिएट अ प्रॉब्लम इफ आई डोंट मेक दिस टाइम फ्रेम इट विल बिकम अ लिटिल डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू grasp that particular idea कि if it is 12 to 24 hours late then there will be customer complaints, negative reviews will be posted, maybe because the customer has to leave the hotel and still his laundry is not there. So ये मेरे एंड से एडिशन है, ये कहीं पे भी दिया नहीं है. So this is just to illustrate my point further. So probably don't go out looking for this particular point anywhere. वो आपको डायरेक्टली कहीं नहीं मिलेगा, कुछ कुछ चीजें मेरे एंड से एडिशन है टू इलस्ट्रेट. ठीक है, जैसे ये इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स क्रिटिकल इंफ्रा गैप, वी हैव बीन स्पीकिंग अबाउट इट कॉन्स्टेंटली इन एवरी मॉडल, राइट? सो जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट इट वंस.
Sir, one thing more. Sir, how we can connect the KPIs with the question like as we said, the employee turnover is decreasing related to level, but we can we will explain it in advantages or disadvantages. Overall market is increasing and its turnover is almost decreasing. So we will connect it with positive points or negative points. Still, it is high, I think.
See, it's supposed to be a comment. It doesn't have to be positive or negative unless the question demands. Na? If you are doing better than the industry, then naturally, you are in a, I mean, that can be considered as a point in your favor. And if your rating, for example, is lower as compared to what the industry standard is, then naturally, of course, you are not performing as well. So there's no positive or negative here, so to say. It's just description of a situation, and we don't know what kind of question exactly will come. We have done an analysis. Now, if the question comes, then you answer it accordingly. ठीक है?
Also, sir, we can recommend other KPIs instead of the six as given in the
They have
question.
not given anything, na? So if the exhibit contains that data, then you comment on it. Or if they ask you suggest other KPIs, we did discuss what other KPIs can be introduced. So you can talk about that. ठीक है? Okay. So we have, of course, discuss the IT governance framework, the three lines of defense, and different models. So whatever was there in the pre-seen material, I think I have covered all aspects of it in great detail. I'm compiling all of this. I have sent you three PDFs yesterday. I'm trying to compile all of them in one place and we'll discuss. मतलब अब मेरे end से pre-scene analysis is done. There's nothing else left from my end. My recommendation to you now is to go through the pre-scene analysis properly. एक बार उसको एक बार go through it, understand what kind of information is there, see if you can now go back to the study hub. Okay, go back to the study hub, see what is written there. Say for example the topic is pestle, go and read pestle. If the topic is porter's five forces, go and read porter's five forces, and at the same time read what we have discussed in the pre-scene. So that will give you a complete picture on what is actually expected in the paper. Utna karo, you should be more than sorted for answering the actual exam. I will be giving you one mock based on this. ठीक है, एक mock आपको दूंगा. I have already given you one, right? I'll be giving you one based on this. आपको आज feedback भी मिल जाएगा. ठीक है?
Okay, sir, can we expect article, some new article and
Article as in,
like article
Technical
on
articles.
sustainability, technical article?
if you want, I can take up some technical articles which might turn out to be important for the paper. कर सकते हैं, मैं आपको एक summary note बना के दे दूंगा, no problem.
Can you give a list of technical articles or new technical articles which has been come?
Sure.
Sir, if we give the mock today, when can we expect the feedback?
I need 1.5 day to check. Immediate तो
Okay,
नहीं.
because from today onward, I'm sending alternative subject mock. Today HBL, tomorrow API.
Okay. ठीक है. चलो. Thank you guys, and I will see you Do you want to sit Saturday, Sunday and finish NC Tech, or you want to sit on Monday? What do you want?
So, like, I'm waiting for
So I think
my
Saturday, Sunday work.
Saturday, Sunday, let's have session for NC Tech. Okay, I'll update you with the timing. And trust me, I know I will tell you the timing. Don't follow up. मुझे पता है when it has to be sent. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Saturday,
so
Sunday.
Yes. Someone said
I
something?
was saying, कि, should I attempt NCTech before coming for the class, or do I wait for the class?
Don't attempt. That's not a mock. That's something I will be solving with you. So don't attempt.
Uh, Sir, I have already shared you some tasks on Tuesday. I did not receive any feedback. Should I expect it or should I expect for the mock one?
दे दूंगा.
Sir, I have also sent you Yax money in like 2-3 days ago. Please
दे दूंगा. Don't
check
worry.
that.
दे दूंगा.
Okay.
Same here, sir. Yeah.
Yes, I know किसको किसको क्या क्या देना है. Don't worry.
I thought you missed it because
I don't.
ज़्यादा messages होते
I
हैं.
never miss out. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
So welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you, sir.